Well, I found it. It's right there in a new order by Judge Aileen Cannon, and the choice of words that she used, which seems to indicate that she may have been in contact with Donald Trump's presidential transition team for that big plum job assignment of attorney general, which should recuse her from every case involving Donald Trump, since he was a criminal defendant in her courtroom, until she curiously, surprisingly, dismissed the entirety of the indictment against him, and then miraculously end up at the top of the list for his attorney general position. It's all right there in a new order she issued in rejecting an attempt to remove her from another Trump-related case, this one of the would-be assassin, where he is the putative victim. Let me read to you from this new order we just got our hands on in the case involving Brian Wesley Ruth. He's the guy that was at the golf course near Mar-a-Lago in Florida with a gun sticking out of the bush for 15 hours that got caught by the Secret Service. And his lawyers thought it was a good idea to try to get rid of Aileen Cannon for the appearance of impropriety and bias, not only because Donald Trump put her on the bench, but also because she just dismissed his indictment for the first time in 250 years. A federal judge had found that a special counsel had been improperly appointed, unconstitutionally appointed, but more to the point, because of the recent revelation that has not been denied by the Trump campaign that they are offering her the job of attorney general. So I thought, well, let's see how she handles that issue, right? If she's not biased, what I expected to see is that she would properly recite the facts about the job offer, the transition memo being leaked, the Trump campaign not denying it, and then she would say, I have had no contact with the transition team. I don't know what they're talking about, but that's not what she wrote. Let me read to you directly from her order so you see how she's sort of being very artful here. A little bit of dissembling potentially going on here in the way she's making her ruling. She doesn't say that she's not been in touch with the Trump transition team, which is the one that we think leaked the memo to the press, and the Trump campaign. Neither the Trump campaign nor the transition team have denied that there is a organizational chart listing Aileen Cannon at the top of it for attorney general. That's what she should have recited. Here's what she said, though. She said on the bottom of page 3 of her order, see, I have it underlined. I have never spoken to or met former President Trump except in connection with his required presence at an official judicial proceeding through counsel, meaning he was represented in her courtroom in the Mar-a-Lago case. That's all she says. But what doesn't she say? Where is the denial that anybody from the Trump transition team has contacted her to vet her for this position of attorney general so it can be announced if he were to win the election? Where is the denial that anybody in her camp, including her husband, and anybody in Donald Trump's camp or proxy, like Don Jr., has contacted her through these intermediaries to vet her for the job? I don't see that denial anywhere, and I've looked. So you have the non-denial denial. She denies the wrong thing. Nobody's suggesting that Donald Trump yet picked up the phone and called her, like red phone to red phone. Hey, Aileen, it's Donnie here. Thanks for taking care of me on that dismissal. I'm thinking about rewarding you with the attorney general position or maybe Supreme Court. How do you like that? I'm not claiming that conversation took place yet. But that's not what the allegations are. It's the Trump transition team, headed by a Wall Street self-proclaimed tycoon and the head of the World Wrestling Federation, that would have made the reach out to her, or people around their orbit, or people in Project 2025 or the Heritage Foundation. I can make a list, a mile long of people on behalf of Donald Trump that could contact Aileen Cannon, and maybe not even her directly. Maybe somebody in her orbit, somebody that's a mentor of hers, maybe her husband. Where's that denial? Doesn't exist. If she had the ability to deny it, you'd think it would show up in her order. She then goes on, and this is where I would say in the order would be the right moment to say, there is much speculation about my job possibilities in a future Trump campaign, particularly, and then she would cite to all the reporting out there about the job offer of being the attorney general, where she's on the number 2 on the list. She doesn't say that. Here's how she recites the facts. She said, defendant makes speculative references to a, quote, prospect of a judicial promotion. Well, it's not a judicial promotion. It would be a promotion to the highest law enforcement position in our country as a cabinet member, as the attorney general heading that department. I wouldn't call that a judicial promotion. Supreme Court is a judicial promotion. And suggesting that such a prospect could arguably affect this court's ability to be impartial in this case. She doesn't say it wouldn't affect her. She just says it's very speculative. She doesn't even recite it properly. If she was reciting it properly on this page, she would say, I know what the press is saying. I know what the leak is. I know that it hasn't been denied. But even with all those facts present, I could be fair and impartial. That's not the test, by the way, that the judge believes she could remain fair and impartial. The test is, would the public and a reasonable observer believe that the court is biased or not based on these facts? And we look at the public's perception of the justice system, which she completely ignores and poo-poos. Oh, what the media makes of all this is of no concern. If that were true, the media could veto every judicial assignment. No. You have to look at how the public perceives the justice system in this case, and whether they perceive that you can be fair and impartial, or it's been undermined by things maybe outside your control, or maybe that you were involved with. It's just the lack of denial that I'm calling out here on this particular hot take. Now, I've been no stranger to my criticism of Aileen Cannon. I think the 11th Circuit, who is handling, ultimately will decide whether she was right or wrong about dismissing the 40-count indictment against Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago for finding that the special counsel was unconstitutionally, illegitimately appointed by the Attorney General. I think she's wrong, dead wrong under Article 2 of the Constitution, that he is a special counsel, an inferior officer, a special attorney to be appointed by the Attorney General. He's funded properly by Congress, as has every inferior officer. He does not have to be confirmed by the Senate, and it's properly brought the indictment. I also think she's wrong for another reason. The indictment was not rendered by the special counsel. The indictment was rendered by the grand jury. And even if the special counsel were somehow sidelined by her analysis, the indictment would survive. He would just have to be replaced by somebody at Main Justice, the Department of Justice, who I always thought should have done this case by themselves anyway, and not use the special counsel. In any event, the 11th Circuit, when they reverse, are going to have to make a decision. Who are they sending the case back to? And how could it possibly be Aileen Cannon? And now they've got another Exhibit A that they can use about how she's thinking about her role. More importantly, how she's not properly thinking about the public's perception of whether justice can be done in her courtroom or the scales of justice are tipped in favor of one Donald Trump. And that she has her big fat thumb on the scale of justice that's supposed to be held by Lady Justice, and she's supposed to be blind. And the question is, does the public think that Aileen Cannon has lifted up the blindfold and she's peeking in favor of Donald Trump? The rest of it in her order is like, oh yeah, I went to high school with a prosecutor, somebody on the prosecution team, haha. But, so what? I went to his wedding. That's, 20 years ago when I graduated a private school in Coconut Grove, Florida. I mean, I don't care about that. What I care about is the denial about contact. Come out and say it, Judge Cannon. Did you or did you not have contact or anybody in your orbit with anybody in Trump's orbit about the job? And if you can say it, then say it. And if you can't, that's a problem. I think this is what should happen. There should be a call for an evidentiary hearing. The government took no position. The local U.S. attorney, not special counsel, who's prosecuting the case in Miami, ironically, given the facts here, a proud member of the Haitian American community. I don't think he eats dogs and cats or your pets, if that's what you're wondering. That's who's the head U.S. attorney in South Florida. His office didn't move for the recusal. He said, we don't really see the grounds for it. Maybe they should look harder. And if I'm the defense team, I now ask for an evidentiary hearing on this issue. And if she won't give it to them, I would appeal this denial to the 11th Circuit and let them start getting their minds around the problem that is Aileen Cannon. I'll follow it right here. You're here already. Legal AF, the YouTube channel. It's a companion for Legal AF, the podcast, which is on the Midas Touch Network. If you want all things Legal AF at the intersection of law and politics, you've come to the right place. I'm the chief curator. I'm going to bring you these stories at the intersection without blowing smoke or sunshine, and find out what 50 million people a month already know, that Legal AF is the home of law and politics analysis and commentary like no other. And take a moment and help us get to those magic numbers to make us a durable, lasting YouTube channel that you enjoy. Hit the free subscribe button. Until my next contribution, I'm Michael Popok, and I am reporting. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.